What's going on, guys? It's Marcus and Logan back with Kingdom Built Football. Following week one, tight fought game, tough L.
Yeah.
We have a lot to recap over. Some things happened throughout the week leading up to our week 2 game against the Orlando Storm.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to cover that and just kind of give a recap of the first game, thoughts on that, things we could possibly do better, and just share a little bit of stats.
Yeah, I know it had gotten cold that day, but the crowd still looked pretty solid. I was watching it on TV, and you really hear the pop, especially late in the game. It sounded like the crowd was really into it. There's a few times.
Definitely a lot of moments where some energy was shifted, and it was
Mm-hmm.
good to hear, our crowd just invested in that. I had some good conversations with Zach Lee. He is a fan of the program, good colleague who we've recently tried to start developing a relationship with. He had a lot of good things to say about the environment. You saw King's Corner have a good crowd at their tailgate area, which looked good. So overall, I think the city has done a good job in terms of welcoming the program, and for the first game of the season, it was a good turnout.
Yeah.
Funny to go from 80 degrees or something that day to 30.
Yeah, it was
right
pretty
there.
cold that night, that evening. And it's like, I remember earlier in the day, we were going to walk down to the coffee shop and stopped just about a block away from the house, and we're like, nah, let's go ahead and drive. It's pretty chilly.
It was something.
But there was a pass, I want to say it was in the fourth quarter, a deep pass down to Lucky, and the crowd got pretty pumped up after that one. And
Well, even his first touchdown
Mhm.
was the first touchdown of the season for us, right? Is
Yeah.
something to be excited about. That drive leading up to that touchdown, there was a lot of good plays, one by him, and then also just the things that we did in order to make that happen that showed a lot of good investment from the crowd.
Yeah, and I thought Bean played well for the most part. I think he had some passes that were right in the bucket, looked good, especially in the first couple drives. The first drive until the interception, he was moving around.
Wasn't
well.
his fault.
Well, no,
Wasn't
I'm just
his
saying
fault.
is on that drive, it was he moved well. He looked like he could definitely lead the offense. But then he threw it and hit. Was it McKitty?
Davis.
Oh, it was Davis.
It was
Okay.
Davis,
Yeah, right in the face.
Right in the face.
And bobbled it around a few times. Well, then, talking about Louisville's defense, I thought they played really well most of the game. 8 tackles for loss. Until the go-ahead touchdown with like a minute left or 2 minutes left, the only touchdown they gave up was on that opening drive after the short field turnover. So, besides that, I think they played, really well.
So, if we're gonna look at like the box score of the game, we led in passing yards. They destroyed us in rushing yards.
Yeah, less than 50 rushing yards.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's absurd. That can't happen.
No.
Um,
Well, on top of that too, the Russian fumble on the goal line,
Probably one of the most pivotal moments of the game. Actually, if we look at the rest of the game, we're going into halftime, possibly 14-9.
Yeah.
Right. The way it plays out, we ended up getting 2 more field goals. We're up in that. We finished that game winning,
Well,
20-15.
I would like to see a replay on it because I didn't get a chance to see like a slow motion replay.
Oh, it got punched. It
did
got
before
punched.
you got in.
Yeah, probably.
Okay.
It was on the 1 yard line, but it looked like from the line of scrimmage, it was already out.
Oh wow.
It was falling because it was in his right hand. Dude was on his left, and the guy was reaching across, and it didn't even look like he was even going for the punch. It kind of just.
Well, Wheeler didn't even get in the game after that. I'm pretty sure.
Good. To be honest with you, that's not something that should happen. Benny didn't look as great as I was hoping. The offensive line.
So it looks like the team kind of blamed it all on the offensive line coach.
Yeah.
Because he got fired the next day, if not that evening. I don't know.
Same week. It doesn't matter. Week 1.
Yeah.
If you didn't know, now you know. We did fire our offensive line coach. Let me.
Yeah, I didn't see any official announcement from the Kings. The only thing I was finding was on like local news posts and his own Instagram, Gio Camani.
Yeah.
On his own Instagram, he posted. Well, I'll just read what he said. He said, "Thank you for the opportunity at Louisville Kings. Good luck the rest of the season. I will support the Louisville Kings and the community of Louisville as always, but was fired as a coach after the loss.
Yeah.
Hashtag Go Kings."
Yeah, Gia Camini gone after one game.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, having 46 total yards
46,
with Jason Bean being your lead rusher, which you know, we had 3 individuals in the backfield last week. You know, none of them averaged more than 2 yards.
Yeah.
That's not good. You know, and it does start with the line, right? It does start with the holes that they're able to get to. But it says something also a lot about like who's ready, who's not ready. Play calling could have been a little bit better. Looking at everything. Hey, what did I tell you guys? I told you guys Jason Bean's rushing yards. I told you if you were gonna bet, probably bet the quarterbacks over in his rushing yards because this is a new experience. Everybody's a little bit nervous.
That's what I was going to say is I feel like the learning curve is bigger on an offense. People meshing, figuring out the plays. Defenses can shine early on. You would think, if anything, you'd be able to rush the ball better than you could pass, but it's definitely defensive heavy early on in something like this.
Well, this is my thing. You look at so I was doing a little bit of a defensive analysis. You know, pretty much every drive that we had, you know, our defense was in a 4-2-5. So we have four guys down on the line, 2 linebackers, and 5 defensive backs. So we're playing with a nickel corner or safety, whatever the case may be. That just leaves us completely vulnerable to runs on the inside because every lineman is accounted for, and one might even get double teamed.
Yeah.
And then if they're constantly running, you know, 11 personnel, they're spreading us out, and especially if they're not in a stack, then we're kind of toast.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that was, I noticed, you know, how far out everybody was spread, and including the nickel. Instead, he wasn't like cheating it at all. Like they were full blown, like spread out. You know, he had the 2, and he was over the top of them, and then you only have those 4 guys, and linebackers are doing both, reading the run and the pass.
Yeah.
So if a play action came, you know, it was run, play action, and then we're kind of cooked.
Yeah. And not to get too far ahead, we'll kind of talk about week 2's game against Orlando, but with Plummer, I was watching their game, and they run a lot of RPO.
Mm-hmm.
So they're mostly going to be reading that. A lot of it, they seem to operate within the tackle box a lot more as well. So we'll see if the defense switches up their coverage or if they'll kind of keep it the same. Because I thought the defense, you know, was flying around. Like I said, 8 tackles for losses. Xavier Carlton in the middle, big number 99. He made a lot of big plays, a lot of stops. So I think the defense looked good. You know?
Yeah. You know, Cam Dantzler had, I think I saw 7 total tackles, 5 solos, and 1 tackle for loss as a corner.
Yeah.
People forget that he was, you know, I think when he was a rookie on the Vikings, he was considered like one of the best defensive players as a rookie in that year. So being able to watch him play, you know, I think he's making a good showcase of that. He still has that ability to be in the NFL. Honestly, I was watching that. I was like, he should be out in the league. Like, he's going to be on somebody's camp roster, no doubt, after this season. You can tell he's also, you know, probably the most renowned person on our team other than Benny when it comes to, you know, having that type of energy and, like, people understanding that he's played at that level already.
Yeah. One thing I noticed, too, was both teams were very chirpy. A lot of guys proving themselves. I think they're ready to hit somebody. No telling when the last time some of these guys played against another team, not just practiced. Because even if they were on NFL rosters, how many of them got in the games?
Yeah.
And I know for like me in high school, the first game of the season, you know what I mean? You just are ready to hit somebody that's not your own team. So let alone if that's been a couple of years now, people are definitely chirping a little bit, and that's exciting.
Oh, you also, first game of the season, you want to set a tone, right? You want to let people know. Like, they scored that touchdown. I think they even got that turnover. When they got that first turnover off of Davidson, that's who it was, Zach Davidson.
Mm-hmm.
When they got it off of his hands, they all ran to our end zone and were, giving flock to the fans. So, and that's good because it creates that type of rivalry, animosity between, the fans and other teams. Now we're having some people that were like, nah, we're not doing that. We're not fans of them. But it also just makes it exciting for like when that happens for us, like we're bringing just as much as that same energy.
Yeah.
I was watching in the first half. You see, I think was it Robinson before he got hurt, or it wasn't Robinson who got hurt. I'm missing it. Oh, it was Kenny Robinson Jr.
Yeah.
He was setting the tone the first couple drives. Every time he got a big hit or something, he was, flexing and walking off. And those are those things that are like really exciting to watch and, set a precedence towards what we want as a team. Just for the guy to retire. Now, I don't know if this is true, but if you can confirm this for me, because I don't have the same social media platforms that you do, but apparently, according to XFL analysts, Logan's going to confirm this for me. It looks like Kenny Robinson retired after game 1.
Yeah. It says he announced his retirement. He played 2 years with Birmingham, played with St. Louis, then got drafted into the NFL.
Now, he also got hurt, right?
Yeah, he was placed on injured reserves, so he's probably like, it's over. I'm done. Yeah, that's probably what happened.
Prayers to that man.
Yeah.
And, hopefully that injury doesn't take him too far gone from the sport. It's
yeah, he's probably done.
Yeah, I mean, he's probably done, but it's tough to be able to have that opportunity. You take that opportunity, and then just for it to get taken away real quick.
So he posted like a tribute to football on his Instagram page, like a whole paragraph.
He did a Dear Basketball?
Kind of, yeah.
Oh.
From 4 years old to from Pee Wee football to 27, and then he posted like a whole bunch of stuff and like 100 photos of him through the years as a kid in high school and the NFL with his family. So sounds like he's done. There's one of him lining up against Tom Brady. So
that's pretty dope.
Yeah.
When Tom Brady went out wide?
No. Tom's under center, and you see him lining up in the safeties, kind of like a.
Oh, it's like one of those through shots.
Yeah. Yep.
That's pretty dope.
Mm-hmm.
That's a good one. Got to put that on your. Put that on my wall. Well, in part to that, we ended up picking up some people because of that. I think it was Payne. It was an individual who was from. He played at Florida. Let's see. Got to go to our sources. Where'd it go? I just saw it. There we go. Nope, that's the wrong one. I was reading earlier. If you know, go for it.
I do not know.
Let me find it.
One thing I did like was it looked like the defense, a lot of gang tackles.
See ball, get ball.
Yeah, I was like seeing a lot of people, a lot of hats on the ball. Because who was it? It was Ole Miss in that semifinal game against Miami.
Mm-hmm.
They were already like the most missed tackles in the SEC. But over and over again in that game, you saw one guy try and make a tackle, and he might have the guy like grabbed him or something, slowed him down. Nobody rallied to the ball. Guy would break the tackle, pick up a first down, and then on the flip side, you'd see Miami 5-6 guys on the ball. So where even if you're making the tackles like an open field tackle, it's not going to last if you're just constantly just one guy tackling the guy. You know.
Yeah.
It's always great to see a bunch of people there.
Oh, think I found it. Oh, come on, man.
I also thought Lynn Stadium looked nice. I thought the field looked good.
I think having these games in a soccer stadium is just mint.
Well, watching Orlando's clips, their field, like, the stadium's a nice stadium, but the field didn't look like the grass looked beat up. Like, I don't know. It still looked like it had all the soccer prints. Lynn looked, I mean, I know it might be
I don't think we had a game yet on Lynn.
Yeah. But then if you drive past Lynn, they have those, like, I don't know if you've ever seen it. They have those giant heat lamps, the lights.
Oh, yeah.
That are, like, over the fields. Like, they do a really good job keeping that grass pristine. I don't know what Orlando does. But it did look great.
They had DJ Khaled performing at halftime.
Did they?
Yeah.
Nice.
And we had...
some country dude.
Yeah, I don't listen to country music, so I would have taken DJ Khaled anytime. Found out who we added. So we added a safety, Trey Dean the third. So that's somebody that we added to fill up Robinson's position. If you look him up, he's been a journeyman. Played on the Jets. Played on the Browns. Let's see where else he's played. Splits. He played on the Jets. He's from Georgia. Played at Florida. And he's looking for another run. He's 25 years old. 26. No, 25. 25. No, 26. Just turned 26. So we're replacing a couple guys. We also added a interior lineman, my boy Jalen Thomas. So that should be good. He's a dog. Played at SMU. So now we have two guys from SMU on our team. He's a very, very smart individual. Has had a run. Played with the Texans for a while. As, joining practice squads and stuff like that. He was picked up as a free agent initially after the draft in 2023 by the Ravens. And then has, kind of bounced around from practice squads and whatnot.
How big is he?
He's 6'3", 311.
Okay.
Yeah, so he's a big dude, but he can move.
Yeah.
There was a play I'm pretty sure we had where we were playing against Memphis, and we had started, like, it was when we were really tight with Memphis. It was like 8-0, 8-0, trying to win the American Conference. This was ultimately leading up to that. And we had a play where we were giving him the ball, like kind of one of those goal line passes to a lineman. Yeah. Everybody gets behind him. And he can move. Very smart individual. Very excited to have him here. Glad he's getting the opportunity to continue to play and showcase that he's capable of making it into the NFL. Him and DeVere have gone at it before in practice, so they'll be able to do it again. And, iron sharpens iron, and love to see the pony connection on our team. Just makes sense.
Yeah. All these horses.
Yep. I think we ended up naming our mascot Derby.
Did it come out?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I voted for. We had talked about that a little bit. I don't know how many people saw the vote, but it was between Duke, Derby,
Rex.
Rex one?
Yeah.
That doesn't make any sense.
It was just Rex.
I think there was 4, but it might have only been 3.
I think it was just the 3 when I looked at it. It was just
when I saw
Derby,
Duke,
and Rex.
I was like, I don't think Duke could work just because of Louisville and Duke.
Yeah.
Like, I know it's not the same Duke, but I think it just brings up bad imagery for Louisville fans.
They were thinking royalty.
Yeah.
All right.
But yeah, talking about the game, I think there was just some small mistakes that turned, especially like late. Like with the way the game started, the defense kept them in it. Birmingham's kicker, absolute garbage. I think the one was blocked, but he missed 2 extra points.
One was blocked, missed 2 extra points.
Yeah, I don't think he was going to make that one anyway. It looked like he pulled it really hard.
Ultimately, probably not on the team anymore.
Yeah,
on
Tanner
his
Brown,
end.
though, the Louisville kicker, he looked good.
He,
He had
he's
some boomer
sharp.
kicks. But the biggest takeaway I had was at the end of the game, you have the ball, 4th and goal from like the 2, and they decide to kick another field goal. And I, at the time, I'm like, I feel like they should go for it. The crowd was a little bit upset about it. They were kind of booing. But then I thought about it a little bit deeper, and I'm like, well, Birmingham's only scored 1 touchdown, and that was the opening drive, like their opening drive on a short field because of an interception.
Mm-hmm.
The defense has looked good. Might as well trust the defense. Your offense hasn't been producing. You only rushed for 46 yards. Offensive line hasn't looked good. Instead of risking the game on a 2-yard run, let's kick the field goal, take the lead, and have our defense play.
I mean, we had 8 minutes left.
Yeah.
So like it
You're
should
gonna get the
have
ball
been.
back.
It should have been something where we're getting that ball back.
Yeah.
Um,
Then they come down and score, and Birmingham misses the extra point again. But we have the ball on the 50-yard line. That's the one thing I thought Bean didn't do well, where it's like in that situation, you only need a couple yards to possibly win the game on a field goal, and he chucks it down into double coverage on a jump ball, to a guy that wasn't open for the interception. And it's like that was the only time I feel like a check down, trying to run the ball. I know running the ball wasn't doing well, but something in the flat, something small they needed was 10 or 15 yards. It looked like Tanner Brown could probably punch it in from wherever he was at. That was the only takeaway I had. Was I feel
we were on the 50.
Yeah.
When we threw that, right? And
Yeah.
so we're already down 2.
Mm-hmm.
Like you're saying, we need to check down.
Yeah.
Push comes to shove, bro. We could even go for the 60-yarder and try to win the game, because it's possible.
Yeah.
We know kids are doing it, dudes are doing it.
And like I said, Tanner Brown looked good. The kicks he made looked like they had plenty of leg. None of them really looked like they were going to miss. They all looked down the middle. So I think that's where you would rather ride. But I don't know. Coulda, woulda, shoulda. Like I said, in the excitement, you're like, oh, we want to watch him go for it on 4th and goal, game on the line, 2-yard line.
I don't think we'd be upset if we didn't get it, right?
Yeah.
Because now our back's against the wall.
And that's another
Their
thing,
back's
right?
against the wall. Yeah. We have a potential of, like, because we've already had them. We had them at one point in their own red end zone,
Mm-hmm.
right? Matt Corral made a great play by throwing it to the feet of his receiver and not getting himself an intentional grounding.
Yeah.
Right? But, like, that could have happened again where we had an opportunity to pin him.
Mm-hmm.
And we don't pin them.
Well, that's what you see in the NFL more and more. If you get the ball within the 2 or 3 yard line, they're mostly going to go for it every time, because worst case, it's a great punt. They're getting the ball on the 1 yard line. You can't ask for much better, especially when your defense has 8 tackles for losses.
Yeah,
and not all of those were rush plays. Some of them were in the.
And now say that does happen. You don't get the touchdown. They get possession. They're at the 1. They're in their own 1. You have the possibility of, instead of a 7-point swing, a 9-point swing,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because you get a safety, and then you get possession. That leads to another touchdown and 7 points. Now you're up 9, right?
Yeah.
And it's also a battle of, field
Mm-hmm.
position, which, if you notice in the UFL, this is what it's about. We're not allowed to punt the ball after the 50 anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So your third down plays are something that are going to be extremely critical and something different. As third down's already been critical, but 3rd and 8s can now turn into genuine draws instead of this is a money down where you have to throw it.
Yeah.
3rd and 8 on our own side of the 50, that's different. That's definitely a throwing type of play.
Mm-hmm.
But past the 50, knowing that you can possibly get a 4-point field goal, what are you gonna do? You can run it. You can
That's
at
what
least
happened.
try to chunk out 4 or 5 yards.
Yeah, that's what happened to Birmingham. I think it was the third quarter. It was 3rd and 13 on the plus side of the field, and so Corral's under pressure. He rolls out, and it's like, now you're just gonna at least try to get some yardage, so that way you can pick up the 4th down. If you could punt, you're probably just throwing that ball out of bounds and punting. But he takes off. He gets popped.
Dude,
fumbles it.
favorite play of the game.
Yeah, he gets
Favorite play of the game.
fumbles it, and then the funniest part about it was 3 of the Kings players trip over each other trying to get to the ball, and they all fall on their face, and then Birmingham recovers it, but then it's like 4th and 20 or whatever.
What quarter was that? I need to see that again.
I think it was in the second half.
That was my favorite play of the game when I saw it. You know,
He lit him up for sure.
Matt's a good dude, Cali kid, but he's not no runner. He's definitely not running like Bean.
Yeah, and I was gonna say too about
that tackle was just perfect.
head on the ball.
It was
Yeah.
perfect. It was so good.
With the go-ahead touchdown Birmingham scored, it looked a little bit easier than the rest of the game. And then I was thinking about it, and Louisville ran 44 plays on offense. Birmingham ran 65. So the defense was out there almost,
half the time.
Yeah. They were up there 60% of the game. Louisville's defense was on the field.
Yeah, time of possession was 38 minutes to 21.
Yeah, you can't expect the defense to hold up that long like that. It's just it's to the point to where you got to run more plays on offense. They turned the ball over 3 times, didn't have a single turnover, so it's just.
Well, I mean, Birmingham lost 2 fumbles.
They fumbled twice, but they recovered both of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, not 3 turnovers is just brutal.
Yeah.
19 first downs to our 11. We did go 1 for 1 on 4th down, which is fine. But to the big one I think is going to be that 3rd down, which is it looks about the same. Statistically, it's the same. They went 10 for 16. We went 4 for 10.
That's what I said. It's like 4 for 10.
40%, both of us. But having first downs, 19 first downs, that means those initial 2 plays of the game were probably bigger chunks that set up and opened up the playbook.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to we could take a look at ultimately, our stats. Jason Bean threw about 50%. He threw 52%, 14 for 27. 226 yards, 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions, 61.7 passer rating, which is all right. For him to his first game in this new offense, new system, 5 attempts, 27 yards, average 5 yards a carry. He looks good on the RPO. Some of those runs weren't designed to be runs. He ended up just having to take off due to pocket collapsing. But it's definitely something that's in our wheelhouse to continue to bust out. Would be having a strong RPO presence and a running quarterback like him can open up the field for individuals like Lucky, who that's going to be our guy.
Yeah. Well, then also Winstead on the jump ball and early in the 4th, he just, you talk about getting mossed. That was the most mossed I've ever seen somebody get. And Bean was kind of under pressure there and just kind of threw it up, turned around, threw it up. Winstead went up and got it. So that builds confidence. You can throw it up to the guy. Because sometimes, I guess it's kind of, could be a bad thing. It's kind of what happened on the 50-yard line last play of the game. But whenever hey, I can throw this up and my guy's got a real shot at catching it, it makes a big difference.
Yeah. Lucky Jackson, Isaiah Winstead, and, Tariq Black, Caden Prather, those kind of look like the rotation of receivers that we have right now. Lucky seems to be Jason's favorite target. We'll see after week 2. He was our first touchdown scorer and our only touchdown scorer. Yeah. But eight guys got at least a pass attempt to him, including Benny. We have a couple tight ends. Looks like our primary formation that we like to run is 11 personnel. Didn't see much usage of the tight ends, especially after Zach Davidson's fumble or bobble that led to an interception. But I did like how the next drive they tossed it back to him, and he took it for about like 13, 14 yards after the catch, which was huge and definitely a good confidence booster back. But we have two other tight ends to utilize who are just probably as good. Didn't get to see the Austrian, I think it is, that everybody's all excited about. He wasn't there. I don't know if he's even on the roster still. But
well, if they could just hold on to the ball, I think they win that game easy. The touchdown on Wheeler, running that one in, I mean, it was on the 1 yard line. And then, like you were saying, the juggled pass at the very beginning of the game leads to a touchdown on a short field. You take away those, because those are not even like forced mistakes. I mean, I know the fumble technically was, but I feel like if he holds it a little tighter going into the goal line, like on the 1 or 2 yard line, you're going to need to most of the time double up on the ball. But you don't make those two mistakes, I think they win that game pretty handily.
Jaden Mickens for Birmingham was on fire. 9 catches, 102. Yeah, nine. I think he went. Yeah, 9 for 9. Every ball that he went for was just in his hands, and he took off. And he's not the biggest dude either.
No, he's pretty small. Yeah.
That wide receiver room over there in Birmingham's pretty nice. You got Laviska Shenault, John Ross, is 4'2", 40. Justin Ross.
I was going to say John Ross on the old Madden. I don't remember which one it was, but his rookie year, he was always the receiver I draft because he was the fastest in the game.
Yeah, on your Mutt team.
Yeah. He just throw it deep.
Yeah, take it. Justin Ross, I was watching him get a little bit chirpy with our guys. They were talking a lot at halftime. If we were to look at defensively, 74 total tackles, which is great. We have a lot of guys, setting the tone. Cam Dantzler as a corner. We talked about him earlier. Looks great. Kenny Robinson was setting the tone in the first half. It was great to have our D lineman.
Xavier.
Carlton.
Yeah.
Xavier Carlton. 4 total tackles, 2 solo tackles, and 2 of those were tackles for losses. It's promising. It truly is promising.
We got to get to the quarterback, though. There was no sacks.
No sacks. So that's something that us as fans should be looking forward to, is how aggressive our defense is. We just need to turn that into sacks, apply that pressure. That can, make a quarterback a little bit more antsy and lead to possible turnovers.
Yeah.
But, we were rotating people too. Like, we have 5 more guys that at least were on defense than Birmingham. So we were rotating. For some reason, I guess Zach Davidson and Benny Snell are on there due to the turnover. So that doesn't really count. But it's good to see.
Wait, Benny Snell had a turnover?
No. I think this is the play where we threw the pick. They're accounted for on defense.
Oh, because they made a tackle?
Because they probably made it like a tackle on them.
I got you.
Special teams, Tanner Brown, 2 for 2. Longest was 37 yards. That's good. That's extra points every day. We take those. We like those. Our kick returner is probably now going to be our second string running back. If was it Wheeler?
Yeah.
Doesn't tighten up.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't. 4 returns, 90 yards, 39-yard return. Those moments. Those are your your key moments 100%. Where you have something that can boost us or hurt us. And this is a game of field position, and special teams is so underrated in that.
Yeah, well, I mean, like, people always talk about Tom Brady and Bill Belichick, but the special teams on those Patriots teams were
disgusting.
Some of the best, yeah. Matthew Slater, guys like that. Yeah.
Mac Brown, 1 punt, 31 yards.
That was the only punt of the game, I think, right? I don't think.
No, they punted one.
Okay.
32 yards.
Mhm.
But again, this might be because of either the weather. I don't know if it was really that windy.
There was a little wind blowing one direction. They were talking, the announcers, about being able to kick further field goals that way, but I don't think it was enough to really deter you from kicking into it.
And I think that's going to be the case with every game because of the way the stadium's facing, because we're on the riverfront. Like, it kind of comes in and loops out,
Yeah.
you know.
Mm-hmm.
Excuse me. But looking forward to week 2, is there anything that you've kind of seen that we should pay attention to?
Yeah, it'll be exciting for Louisville. First away game in Orlando, playing against Jack Plummer, quarterback of Orlando.
2 new market teams.
Yeah, old Louisville quarterback. I think the year before last was his last year in Louisville.
Mm-hmm.
And he looked really good against Columbus. Is it the Aviators?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so Orlando's is playing both new market teams.
Yeah. So
Nice.
he looked really good. They ran a lot of screens, a lot of RPOs. He looked comfortable getting out of pressure. He made some Houdini plays. A couple times we almost got sacked, kind of shoveled it out of there. So I think Louisville's very familiar with what Jack Plummer can do. So it'll be exciting to watch that game. I do think Louisville's defense stacks up well against the screens and RPOs. So I don't think there's much to worry about there. Their O-line looked pretty weak. I don't know if that's normal. I don't know. Like, O-linemen, I feel like, are hard to come by, good O-linemen, and you need a couple of them on NFL teams. Like an NFL team.
You need depth.
Yeah,
you need depth of that.
exactly.
If
So I don't
you
know.
take a look at the Chargers, they need...
And their lifespan's short. So I don't know how many good O-linemen are floating around the UFL.
Shoot, not unless you Trent Williams.
Yeah.
I love Trent Williams. He's dog.
But, yeah, so Orlando's O-line didn't look great. It's probably why they run so many screen passes and RPOs, trying to get the ball out quick. And then their kicker hit a 55-yarder, and that thing looked like it could go in from 70. Lance is his name. So with the 4-point field goals being a factor, that could, be a little more important for a team like Orlando.
Let's see. I'm trying to see if I could pull up how they did over there in their first game. Because they played, you said Columbus?
Yeah.
Was that the last game of the week?
I'm not sure. I know Plummer had 240 yards on the in the air. They rushed for about 140 as a team. So they are definitely for the first 3.5 quarters. They were just dominating for the most part, and then kind of let it slip away a little bit late. They still held on to win, but they definitely gave Columbus a chance.
17 for 22, 240, and 1 touchdown.
127 passer rating.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, he looked good.
Yep.
Couple different runners. Yeah. 15 attempts by their running backs. So one thing that we got to pay attention to is that part. Is if we're running that 4-2-5. KJ Hamler's on that team? Oh, man. I miss when he was on the Broncos. He was pretty good. Could have still played a little bit. 3 for 28. Okay. Yeah. They're running that ball. 15 attempts. Hopefully we switch it up. Maybe run a 4-4. And just that way we can have an extra body in the box that's truly designated to the run. Because defensively, we don't even have Robinson anymore. So it's like he kind of was moving around a lot more than anticipated. I think if we switch it up a little bit, run a 4-3-4, we'll be good. The box will be accounted for. I trust Dantzler. I trust, who else do we have on our? Ultimately I trust Dantzler the most if he's playing man to man, even zone. He's smart enough to be able to cover who's needed. They tried a couple cover 2 beaters and he was on it.
I think it's really going to come down to hold on to the ball. Like you can't, and the play differential. I think hold on to the ball plays into that, but 65 plays to 44 plays. You can't let that continue, especially with a team that knows the ball so well. I mean, anytime they had the ball, it looked like they were scoring. I don't remember how many total yards of offense, but it was like almost 400 plus yards of offense. So you just can't give them the free opportunities like they did against Birmingham.
Oh yeah, Mekhi Gardner, he was nice. That was the other corner. Keaton Ellis. Yeah, like you're saying, we have to get off the field. We have to capitalize. Those tackle for losses are good, but we need those sacks.
Yeah.
Because that changes so much. Looks like we've updated our roster. Now everybody has a Louisville Kings picture
Okay.
up there, other than some individuals that have been getting added on late. But that's okay. But it's good to see everybody now in the same uniform rather than seeing some steamboat pictures. Let's see. I think we'll be all right. I think the rest of the schedule, obviously 4 teams are undefeated, 4 teams aren't. That's like there's a chance that everybody can be even by the end of this week. I'm pretty sure, depending on who's playing. I don't want to just see. I want to. Well, yeah, Aviators play DC. That'll be nice. Those teams both are undefeated, so somebody's gonna lose that game. Birmingham plays Houston, which I didn't get to see Houston at all, but that should be good. That'll be on NFL Network, it looks like.
Okay.
Our game this week, let's actually see that part, because it was on Fox for the opener, which was great. It was cool to see Jake Butt and an on-field recorder.
Looks like it's on ESPN.
Nice.
8 p.m.
Samuel Alcho probably be on the call. What did you think about the uniforms on field?
Oh, yeah, I was going to say, I thought they looked a lot better than I thought they were going to look.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the gray ones are better. I do like the gray ones a lot more still.
Probably break those out this week.
Yeah. But, that lime green is something bright. So, I was definitely excited to see, some dudes had lime green cleats and stuff like that. UFL's coming together.
Yeah.
I'm really enjoying it. I remember at first when I was younger, I was a skeptic about spring football. I was like, oh, I don't really care. But to now be in a city where it's happening, I had the privilege of growing up in an area where NFL teams were present.
Mm-hmm.
But to now be in an area where it's not a thing, and to have this as an opportunity just to watch football as a lover of football, there's a whole new appreciation for, this industry, I guess.
Well, and like we had mentioned, I think in the first episode, where there's going to be excitement around the league, so people are going to show up at least for the first couple of weeks, and it depends on what type of product they put out there. I think they did. It was an exciting game, even though Louisville only scored 1 touchdown. It was a low-scoring game. I think that it was exciting. The defense was flying around. The crowd was into it. Bean made a couple of really nice passes. They had a chance to win at the end. I don't think it, because I remember watching some of those older spring football games and just being like, this is boring.
Mm-hmm.
What are we watching here? But like watching this game, it was a little more exciting. Like I actually enjoyed watching it, and I was like, I think that this could actually work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, all in one, but we're not done.
Yeah.
Not done. Brick by brick, this kingdom will be built.
Plenty of season left.
We have 9 games.
It's like a high school season.
It is like a high school season,
yeah.
And then they go in the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
But hopefully this is a good product that encourages other cities to hop in on this, especially for a time where it can be a little bit slower for people. Not everybody's fortunate enough to have a soccer team or a minor league team in the area. So this is something that's good for the economy, good for the city, and creates opportunity all around. So We look forward to catching up with you guys after week 2, hopefully with the victory.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, that's huge.
Yep.
We'll catch you guys next week.